Hello everyone, this is Aaron again, coming to you with another video. This time we're not talking about air guns or best air guns or the most accurate air guns or air guns period, or any of the equipment for air guns, accessories and that sort of thing. Today I decided that I was thinking about high school and something we used to do in high school. Now I was fortunate enough to have a high school that had a rifle range in the basement. Yeah. Some of the schools that was built in the early 1900s. As you know, we went through some wars back then, World War I and II, and in those areas. And as a result of that, some of the schools that was built had rifle ranges in the basement for their ROTC students. And I believe you could even take a class in riflery at that time. So I was fortunate in that I had access to that particular range, and we used to take our 22s down there and shoot them. And we came up with an idea. Now the idea was this: we had something we called the 22 challenge, and because we were shooting at that time, I think it was 15 yards, 10 or 15 yards. The guns were not scoped, they were open sights, and we were shooting at these little dots in the middle of the paper. And we decided that we wanted to know when anyone had a bullseye. We got tired of people saying, "Oh, I got one." We had to go look and test it and all that. So we came up with something we called the 22 challenge. Interesting if I offered a 22 challenge to all of those people on my that have subscribed to my channel. Almost 2,000 of you. I want to thank you for that. And I was thinking, okay, if I do that, what kind of a prize should I give? And I was going through stuff, looking at some scopes. I was looking at some other things I have around here I'm not using anymore. And I said, no. That would not be a good idea, because I was taught when I was growing up that there's only two kinds of people in the world. There's the kind of person that if you drop your wallet and they didn't give it to you, they couldn't sleep that night. And there were the kinds of people that if you drop your wallet and they gave it to you, they couldn't sleep that night. And so I don't know what kinds of people. I'm hoping that all of you guys are the kinds of people that gives the wallet back and sleeps good that night, rather than ones who take it and put it in your pocket and sleep and have a good night's sleep. So in other words, I guess what I'm saying is this: is that incentives usually give people incentives to cheat. Not to say that any of you guys would cheat, but just to take that variance out, there will be no prize for this. The prize will be self-satisfaction, and knowing that if there are those two kinds of people in the world, those people who write me and say, "Aaron, I did it," they'll be proud. They know they did it. They'll sleep good that night, and they'll be proud of themselves. And those who cheat will go to bed, and they'll think everyone think they did it when they really didn't, and they'll sleep just as well that night. It doesn't matter to me. So now we don't have to get you to prove what you did. But what I am going to ask is this: is that for those of you who post, I want you to video your shoot of what I'm about to explain to you. For those of you who don't post, just write it in under the comment when you did it or how well you did. Now this is not going to be a 100% thing. It never was for us when we was in high school shooting our guns. It was about how well you did. Now in this challenge, it's going to come down to this: 8 shots at a 22 at 20, 30, and even 40 yards for those of you who have really good scopes that can magnify that the back of a 22 that well. And then you're just going to let us know. Those of you who post, you're going to post you're doing it. Those of you who can't post are just going to write and say, "Hey, I did it, Aaron, and I did it in this amount of time," and that sort of thing. And that's how we're going to do it. We'll all read those reviews under this video to see who's doing it and how well they're doing. Okay. And let me just talk about this too, because I know I just said that to some younger people about the rifle. And that's how this came up, about us having a rifle range in the basement and having rifles kept in the school down there. And they were like, "Are you crazy?" For those of you that are young, it was a different time. When I grew up in the 50s, in the early 60s, it was a different time. We knew respect. We knew accountability. We knew consequences. And as a result of that, we made pretty good decisions about what we were going to do. Nowadays, it seems that no one knows about consequences anymore until they do the big one, and they end up either killing themselves or hurting themselves or going to jail. Then all of a sudden, they realize, wow, there's consequences. One of the failures of our system is allowing us to raise children that don't know consequences, because we can give no consequences. As a result of that, they become adults and do stupid things, and then they become a part of the penal system or the graveyard or the intensive care unit. But enough of that. That's politics, and I don't like to get into politics on my channel. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom this camera in. I'm going to show you how to set this thing up, and then we'll talk about the rules of engagement after I do that. Okay, so I'm going to pause the camera, bring it in close, and show you how to set this up and talk to you about doing it as we go. Okay, all right, let me pause this and bring it in. This is how you're going to set this thing up, and you can set it up. You can set up 4, 6, 8, 10, 20 of them to save your time, and I'll explain that in a minute. But if you look at this, I don't know if you can see it, but if you look at it, there's some pencil marks on this paper. That's my grid for setting up, and I actually have 2 grids here. Okay, and the reason I want to have 2 grids is this: if I shoot at these 8 and I miss one, I don't have to go down and start over. I can move immediately to this side. And if I had 4 of them, I could do it 4 times before I reset the whole thing up. It just allows you to keep on shooting without getting up and running downfield every time you miss one. Because what you're going to do is you'll zoom in on all 4, shoot this one and it'll be a mistake, shoot this one and it'll be a mistake, shoot this, and then you just edit out the one that that you didn't know, just show all of them if you're going to be posting it. Okay, let me tell you how this is done. Okay, first of all, rules of the ammunition for the 22. Okay, there are 3 types of ammunition that you can use for this. There is the 22 short, and there is the 22 blank, and there is the let me find one in here that ain't got the nose off of it. And there's one we used to use for ratting. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. I'm going to zoom in on it in a second. That one there is used for ratting. This is going to be upside down to you. I can't flip around, so I'm sorry. It's going to be upside down probably. And then this is one of the ratting things. And all these ratting things are so there's a BB on the end of a 22 caliber charge with very little powder behind it. Okay. I would probably want to recommend these because they're not as loud, especially if you're going to be shooting, and this just sounds like a pow, just really, really quiet. Now I'm gonna leave it zoomed in and try to adjust this so you can see what I'm about to do. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set up just the first one for you so you can see. Okay. All you're gonna do is take a screwdriver. I had a screwdriver here a moment ago, and I don't have it now. I won't do it. But I punched that hole right there with a screwdriver. Now I simply press the bullet in, and as you can see there, that's my target. That's why the 22 challenge is so difficult. Now for some of you guys, we're going to allow you a cheat on this, and I usually don't do that because we couldn't do that when we was shooting the ROTC in the RO2C range. We had to go ahead and do this thing just at that little thing there, and boy, let me tell you, in an open sight, that is not a target you want to shoot at. We're going to allow you. Okay, as I was saying, you can either have the bullet in there, or you can use a cheat. And there's a couple of cheats that I have here that you can use depending on the range you're shooting. And there are these, and basically they're these dots of various sizes. Okay, I'll do one here over this. Okay, and then put a little hole in it with this, hopefully without it breaking, because these things here are not easy to get that little hole in. Now if you see, if I put the bullet in it, I got a little bit bigger target. Now you're going to be doing better than that because you're going to have everything to do it with. You can punch these holes a little bit better than me. And if I wanted to go with a big one, I would simply, I think scissors might work better on this. I'll try it. Yeah. Scissors are going to work better. Get something pointed, a little bit more pointed. And now I'm going to take this and stick it here. I'm going to take my screwdriver. And the closer to the center you get this, the better, because when you dissect it from a distance, it's going to show up better. But you got to push a hole through it. And now when you put your pellet in from a distance, you got basically all you have is something bigger to shoot at, as you can see. So now what I can do, if I can't see this little thing here, I can at least dissect it. Let's dissect this and know I'm in the center. When you get out to, especially when you get out to 40 yards. Okay, so basically that is what you're going to do. If you're going to set your grid up, I would have 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the reason we're going with 8 is this: is that all guns out there have at least 8 in their magazine, because once you start shooting, I don't want it to break in it in terms of going ahead and reloading another magazine. For those of you who shoot single shot trays, that's okay. But for those that shoot magazines, I know that you will not have to load another magazine and have a break in it. It'll be pow, pow, pow. Okay? So basically that's what we're looking at with the challenge. Let me move the camera back and continue talking to you about what we're trying to do here. Okay, now let me just talk about a little bit about the rules. And I'm going to try to go out this afternoon or tomorrow and add to this video my shooting at this at 20 or 30 yards or whatever, and explain to you how it's going. But let me just talk you through that part now. Okay, where it's going to be done is this, especially for those of you guys that are posting. For those of you who are not going to be sending in any physical evidence of your shooting, you can just go ahead and shoot it. But for those of you who are going to be shooting in, going to be posting video evidence of your 22 shot challenge, I need you to do it this way. Go down range, because when we were doing it in high school, the reason we knew that someone had a hit is because we heard the thing go all pow. Okay, had a hit down there. Okay, we're going to use the same thing here. You're going to take your camera, you're going to turn it on from your shooting spot, showing your gun, the gun that you're shooting, and the caliber. Talk about the gun you're shooting and the caliber. Explaining how far you're about to shoot, 20, 30, 40 yards, whatever. Then you're going to turn out, you're going to walk down to your target, and hopefully you'll have a tripod for this, or a table or something to set your camera on. Once you get down there, you're going to show the target, and you're going to turn the camera back on yourself down range. Okay? And then you're going to take and you're going to zoom if you can. If you can't, that's okay. We'll be able to hear the shot. You're going to zoom in on yourself a little bit, so that we can see the action of the shot versus the hitting on the board. And it doesn't have to be on the target, because why? When you hit a target, we'll know it, we'll hear it. So we want to be able to see your action. So that's the rules of engagement. The rules of engagement is this: set it up any way you want in terms of getting the 22 in there and getting it bigger so you can see it from a distance. And if you get the rat shot, it's the best, because for those of you who are living in an area where a little crack is not going to bother anybody, you might be able to do your 20-yard challenge there. For those of you who are living out in the country, or especially in areas where guns are okay, gunfire is okay, you got it made. Just go out there and start shooting. And if you follow those instructions and then post it, we're going to I'm going to come up with some kind of way of recognition for those who have done it. I know for that golf ball challenge thing, they had a patch or something. I don't know, maybe we can come up with something like that. But for the most part, we're doing this for pride. And we're doing this for our guns. Whatever you shoot, whether you shoot a urban, or whether you shoot a high-end FX, or a Cricket, or a Day State. We just want to go out and just shoot our guns, have some fun, and if we can do this thing, we're going to do it. If we can hit it, we can hit it. Last thing is this. I'll say this last thing in closing before I go out and try to actually do this myself. If your best is 6 out of 8, post 6 out of 8. If it's 7 out of 8, and then you just can't get past 7, just write in and say, hey, I tried a number of times, I got 7. 7 is great. I don't know what the size of back in that 22 is, but I would say it was the same diameter as the 22 pellet. And so that's pellet on pellet. And you hear people talking about pellet on pellet, pellet on pellet. Here's your opportunity to prove that your gun can shoot pellet on pellet. Last thing of rules of engagement: 25 calibers, 30 calibers, and those crazy guns that got out there are out. Okay? Nothing can be bigger than the 22 that you're shooting at. So what does that mean? That means you can shoot at it with a 22, you can shoot at it with a 20 caliber, and you can shoot at it with a 17 caliber. You can shoot at it with a BB gun if you want to, but nothing above 22 caliber. And we'll know when you walk back down and turn the camera back on to your target and close and say, this is my proof of what I did, and before you close, because we'll be able to look at this board and tell if you were shooting a 22 or 17 or whatever else you're even telling us by the size of the hole as it relates to the 22 hole. So those of you that are shooting 25 calibers, do it and tell me you did it. Don't post it. We don't care. But tell us you did it. We'll say, wow, that's really, really great. The diameter of your bullet was a lot bigger than my 22, but you did it. All right. So I'm going to go outside and see if I can find a place to do this at least 20 yards, just to show you the rules of engagement and how it's done as an example. And then we're going to see who the first posts are starting to come in of people doing this. All right. Thank you. And this 22 challenge, the reason it's at 20 yards is for safety. You know, I've shot these things. We shot this thing many times, and one thing I do know, for every action there's a equal and opposite reaction. But in this particular case, when the pellet hits that light thing and it goes off pow, it will not have enough energy to propel that pellet back. That pellet will continue on, and this thing here will explode and continue on too. So there's no chance of explosion back at you. And that's one of the reasons why we want to go with the lower calibers and to make sure of that and make sure of that sort of thing. We want safety to be first, but we shot these things at 10 or 15 yards in high school all the time. And you hear pow, and then you hear the second pow, because we're shooting 22s. With here, you're going to hear pst, and then you hear pow, and then we know you did it. Let's have fun with this, guys, and I can't wait to see your post. And I can't wait to see the first ones that bring up their video, and I can't wait to call foul on those guys who didn't follow the instructions. All right, so let's have fun with it. At 16, at 20 yards, I'll be able to see that through my scope at 16. Again, I'm shooting at these so that you'll know what the sound is like when one of these really, really small one goes off. So you'll know how safe it might be quiet in your neighborhood. So let's go. Okay, I'm outside. I'm going to go ahead and shoot this. Let me explain something I'm going to do as I go over this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to say, I'm sorry, we got to go from shade to that. You're going to say, I'm here in the yard and I'm shooting in my particular case, FX Impact, which is shooting 177. And I'm going in for the challenge at 20 yards or 30 yards or 40 yards, you would say. After explaining that, you would turn the gun. You would turn this down range to your target. And then you would walk down range to your target. Now, I'm not shooting 20 yards or any of those. I'm shooting 15 because the wind out here is terrible today. You'll hear it as I'm blasting. But get down, I'll put it on my target to substantiate that thing. Then from there, I would flip it around. You would flip it around and put it back on your location from where you're going to be doing your shooting. And then you would commence to shoot. Now what I'm going to do here is, it is so windy today. I'm going to go and I'm going to shoot. And I want the camera close to this because I want you to hear how loud this is. Okay. No neighbors are out or in the vicinity, so we'll shoot. But let me just say this. What you heard go off in the camera was this little thing here that I talked about, this little ratting pellet that we used to shoot in our 22s to shoot rats up real close in the night before I got into air guns. And it's about the size, it sounded about as loud as a firecracker, I think. The other ones, 22 are going to sound considerably louder. So you might want to go into this for the challenge. And also, let me say this too. For those of you who can't get access to a place where you can actually do the challenge in terms of the 22, shooting at the 22s, do this and we'll accept it. Okay? Go ahead and do your 8-shot dot situation. Set it up, go through the same rules I just went through, and shoot at the dots. And then go down and turn your camera to the dots and say this is what you did, and then turn it off. If you want to do it again, go through the procedure again. That way, even if you're in the city and you have a backyard friendly gun, you can still be in the challenge. It's just that we won't be able to hear. We'll only be able to see. Okay? In terms of the numbers, I like to see you try to go 8 for 8. But if you want to, I'm gonna add this to it, this twist to it too. Let's say you got 8 up there and you hit 7, you're on number 8. If it takes you 4 shots to hit it, say I hit all 8, but I didn't do it in 8 shots. I did it in 10. I did all 8, but I didn't do it in 8 shots. I did it in 9 or 12 or whatever, and then just turn the camera on it. We're gonna give some honorable mentions out to those people who just do it within a certain number of shots, because this is gonna be hard. I know there's some bench rest shooters out there that's going to do it first time out. I know there's some guys in the shooting club here that could do this challenge with their eyes almost blindfolded at 20, because I've seen them do it. 30 and 40 might be a little bit more of a challenge for them. That's why I'm saying to you guys, those of you who are shooting these guns that are shooting lights out at 20 because you bench rest all the time, take it out to 40. Take it out to 30. Don't do something you know you can do. Make it a challenge. That's why we call it the 22 challenge. Looking forward to hearing from you guys and seeing your posts and seeing who can do this. It's not easy, but it's fun. So we'll be checking you out. Thanks.